Time Walk with me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Time Walk with me. This time we are going to look at my deck featuring Rograkh, son of Rograkh, and Ardenn, intrepid archaeologist. This is a deck that is all about giving lots and lots of toys to Rograkh and having him Voltron your opponent to death. Rograkh is a very interesting, very unique legendary creature. He costs nothing to cast. He is a 0/1 with First Strike, Menace, Trample, and Partner. And his partner is Ardenn, an intrepid archaeologist, which is a 2/2 that has a casting cost, unfortunately, but it's only 2 of any and a white. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipments you control to target permanent or player. And of course, he also has partners. So the idea is you get a bunch of equipment out, then you can attach it for free to Rograkh or whatever other creature you want, and then you swing and kill. Now the limitation to Ardenn's ability is that you can only put things for free on one creature per turn. You can do it every turn, but only to one creature. You can't put, this sword on this creature, this armor on another creature. It all has to go to the same creature. Generally, you're going to put it on Rograkh, but I have some other creatures that might be good. Starting with this guy right here, Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. He's a 3/2 legendary human shaman. He doesn't really look very human, looks more like some kind of orc, but whatever, he's holding swords. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, for each aura and equipment attached to Valduk, Keeper of the Flame, create a 3/1 red elemental creature token with Trample and Haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. Now for him to have a whole bunch of equipment on him is very helpful, because then you get a whole lot of the 3/1s to swing at your opponent with. And we've got Jor Kadeen, the Prevailer, 5/4 for a strike. Creatures you control get +3/+0, as long as you control 3 or more artifacts, which you will because this deck is full of equipment. Here we have Sculpting Steel, can enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield, so this can be any equipment that you already have. If you want 2 of it, there you go. Or any other artifact in here. Blade Historian, this guy 2/3, attacking creatures you control have double strike. That's very helpful in a Voltron deck. Aki Battle Squad, 6/6, whenever 1 or more modified creatures you control attack, which is going to be your commander because he's going to be modified with a whole bunch of equipment. Untap all modified creatures you control after this combat phase. There's an additional combat phase. This ability triggers only once each turn, so you get 2 attacks every turn. Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Exile a creature for only 1 mana, and its controller gains life equal to its power, which won't matter because you're Voltroning. So basically there is no downside. Generous Gift. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. That's really good. Can destroy any permanent. Call the Forge Master, 2/2, whenever another non-creature token you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to its owner's hand, so this will help you continue to cast your free commander as many times as you need to. And creature tokens you control that are enchanted or equipped get +1/+1. That ability doesn't matter as much. It's not a token deck. Forging the Tyrite Sword. So the first and second chapters have you create a treasure token, and then on the third chapter you search your library for a card named Halvar, God of Battle, which is not in this deck, or an equipment card, which is in this deck. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And we got Shimmermere, 2/2 with Flash, and your artifact spells have Flash. Sigarda's Aid, you can cast aura and equipment spells as though they had Flash, so it does about the same thing as Shimmermere, but it's an enchantment and it's white. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So that's like a variation of Ardenn's ability. Here we got SRAM Senior Edificer. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Don't think there are a lot of vehicles in here. There might be some auras, but it's mostly equipment. Ironclad Slayer. When he enters the battlefield, you may return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Let's see. Tiana, Ship's Caretaker. 3/3 flying first strike. She's an Angel Artificer. Whenever an aura or equipment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So that's helpful. Keeps your weapons and armor out. Here we got Brunner Battlehammer. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. So that's pretty good. And you may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost of the first equip ability you activate each turn. Repeatable, cheaper equipment. Very good stuff. Now we'll look at a category of cards that help your Rograkh when he attacks alone. Start with Selfless Samurai. Whenever he or a warrior you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink until end of turn. So you can see how that would be helpful. And you can sacrifice him to give a creature indestructible until end of turn. And we got Ryu Storm's Edge. 3/3 first strike. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it, and then you get another combat phase. Tempered in Solitude. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Norika Yamazaki, the Poet. 3/2 Vigilance. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target enchantment card from your graveyard this turn. Heiko Yamazaki, the General. Oh, maybe it's Heiko. Whatever. 3/3 Trample. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target artifact card from your graveyard this turn. I'm kind of assuming people are going to be destroying my artifacts. They're not that hard to destroy. Iganjo Exemplar. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That's a pretty simple one. Asari Captain. 4/3 Haste. When a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each samurai or warrior you control. So if Rograkh and Asari are out, it's going to be +2/+0 at least, and even more for other warriors that are out. Here we got Peerless Samurai, 2/3 Menace. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, the next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast. Now we have the mana rocks and mana acceleration. We got Iron Mirror, taps for a red. We got Fire Diamond, taps for a red. We got Marble Diamond. We got a Network Terminal, Glittering Stockpile. This one's kind of cool. As you add red to your mana pool, you're also adding stash counters on it. And then later on, when you're really in a crunch for a lot of mana, you can sacrifice it to get all that mana for the number of whatever counters I just said, stash counters. Sisei's Ring, Arcane Signet, Liquimetal Torque. This one's cool. Soul Ring, of course, gotta have Soul Ring. Core Cartographer, gives you a plains, not a whole lot of mana ramp in white, so I put that in every white deck I can. Burnished Heart, of course. Wayfarer's Bauble, of course. Joyra's Familiar, which doesn't generate mana, but it's just as good because it makes your artifacts, legendaries, and sagas cost 1 less to cast. Foundry Inspector, artifacts you control cost 1 less. Danitha Capuchin, Paragon. 2/2 First Strike Vigilance. Lifelink and aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less. Alright, now we're at a new category. Is it going to be the equipment? Yes, it is. We'll start with Great Axe. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. It's got a very steep equip cost, but you're not going to have to pay it. Hand of Vecna. At the beginning of combating your turn, equipped creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. And its equip cost is life, which, again, you're not going to have to pay. And don't worry about Vecna. You're not gonna assemble him. I think that's the only Vecna thing in this deck. Dwarven Hammer. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 to get a 2/1 red Dwarf Berserker creature token and attach the hammer to it, but you're not going to have to bother doing that. You can, I guess, the option's there, but you're gonna be putting it on Rograkh. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and trample. I think Rograkh already has trample, but whatever. Bladecraft Aspirant. Oh, this actually belongs with the ramp. It's a 2/3 menace. Equipment spells you cast cost 1 less. And activated abilities of equipment you control that target Bladecraft Aspirant cost 1 less to activate. I'm not sure you'll be doing that a lot. Third ability, but the second ability is very handy. Dueling Rapier. It's got flash, gives equipped creature +2/+0, and whenever it enters the battlefield, it automatically gets attached to something, which is good. I'm not even going to say what the equip cost on these things are, because you're not going to have to cast it. Pay it. Darksteel Axe, it's indestructible and gives +2/+0. Sigil of Valor, whenever equipped creature attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other creature you control. So this is another one that helps you attack with just one creature, though you don't have to with this. Here we got Blazing Sunsteel, equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each opponent you have, so +3/+0. And whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. So that'll prevent your opponents from messing with your commander a bit. Sunforger, equipped creature gets +4/+0, and you can unattach it to search your library for a red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less, and cast that card without paying its mana cost, then shuffle. I'm not sure how many red or white instants are in this deck, but maybe we'll see them. Maybe. Loxodon Warhammer gives +3/+0 and trample and lifelink. Skinwing is a living weapon, so it just gives you a 0/0 black germ that gets this attached to it. But then it's going to die because you're going to put Skinwing on your commander. The equipped creature gets +2/+2 and flying. Flying is a very handy ability. Meteoric Mace, equipped creature gets +4/+0 and has trample and cascade. Ring of Valkus, equipped creature has haste, and at the beginning of your upkeep, that is, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature if it's red, which it will be. Fire Shrieker, equipped creature gets double strike. Darksteel Plate, this is indestructible, and it makes your commander indestructible. Bone Splitter, simple +2/+0. Haunted Cloak gives vigilance, trample, and haste. So that's pretty cool. I think Rograkh has some of those abilities already. Bearded Axe, equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each dwarf, equipment, and or vehicle you control. So it's really gonna mainly benefit from your equipment. There might be dwarves in this deck. Plate Armor, +3/+3 and Ward 1. And it costs less to equip for each other equipment you control, so it can become free, and it probably will become free. Goldvein Pick, this gives you a treasure token every time the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, and you got trample, so good chance you're going to be doing some damage to your opponents. Haunted Plate Mail gives equipped creature +4/+4, and if you don't have any other creatures, you can, for free, turn this into a 4/4 that isn't an equipment. So, good if you're desperate. Relic Axe. So when it enters the battlefield, it automatically equips to something, and it gives a regular creature +1/+1, or a warrior +2/+1. Bronze Plate Boar, these are cool, these equipment creatures. 3/2 trample, and it gives equipped creature +3/+2 and trample. And Rabbit Battery, 1/1 haste, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and haste. And Ancestral Katana, whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you can pay 1 and attach Ancestral Katana to it, but you're not going to have to pay anything. And equipped creature gets +2/+1. And from there we just have lands. So we got an Ancient Den here. It's an artifact land, so that's cool. We got Great Furnace, another artifact land. We've got Secluded Steppe, cycling land. And its red equivalent, Forgotten Cave. So if you don't have enough land, it's land for you. If you do have enough land, then you can get something else. Desert of the Fervent. This one cycles. Just an extra red cycle land. Slayer's Stronghold. This one pumps up your creatures. It gives creatures vigilance and haste until end of turn. That's handy. Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. This gives a creature double strike until end of turn. That's very handy. Here we have Plateau. Mine is fake, of course. I'm not spending $300 on a dual land. Here we have Not Plateau, Lowerhold Campus, but this one can help you to scry, which is really helpful. Windscarred Crag gives you a life when it comes into play, which kind of makes up for it coming into play tapped, but not really, but oh well. Thriving Bluff, taps for a red or a white. Boros Garrison, taps for a red and a white. And then it's all just plains and mountains. So there we go. That is it. That is the Rograkh, son of Rograkh and Ardenn Intrepid Archaeologist deck. Tell me what you think. I'll see you next time.